Hey people. Whew. Another long day. I am just back in Albuquerque after a really kind of ridiculous drive. I was driving into town and there was construction and it was like every road to home was closed. It was bizarre. And I sometimes, sometimes when I feel the universe doing that, today my first reaction is usually I still can't prevent myself getting frustrated. But then I also oftentimes I've learned to take it as a sign almost that I'm about to have a breakthrough or that I'm going in a direction that's promising. Like today, I had two great conversations. I had a conversation with someone who's not a student but who expressed interest in the course early on, but also helps people launch their businesses and called herself a serial entrepreneur. And we had a really cool chat. And she kind of there may end up being some kind of symbiotic way that we end up working together on the piano course. And then over dinner with my parents, some family friends had brought their just out of college, or I guess going into grad school now, son along, and they're interested in piano. They're interested in discovering, they played piano when they were younger, and now they're ready to think they might want to pick it up again, think they're looking for an approach that resonates with them. So I was like, let's try, we're going to shoot emails back and forth, probably have a call, and see if this is a fit. And then I get on the road, and it's like block. And what I've learned is that that's oftentimes not it's the roadblocks, the literal roadblocks are not a sign of going the wrong way. They're actually they're almost like this challenge from the universe. Challenge, seeing if I'm serious, seeing if I'm really invested. And again, these things may not be entirely related. But I can't help but kind of create an energetic association between, how the day went, which I felt was really good. I got a lot done. And then, and not even got a lot done so much as it was like new avenues opening, new paths opening, new roads opening, haha. And then, I remember in the business incubator that I signed up for, there's a couple comments they made where the people running it kind of said things like, it's going to be hard. There's going to be moments as you transition to a new level. There are going to be blocks. It's going to sometimes feel like the universe is completely against you, and you just have to kind of keep going. And that's honestly, even with all, the thing is, the trick there is remembering the universe is actually never against us. It's only for us. So when it pretends to be against us, when it feels like it's against us, what's happening? It's either sometimes it's saying, don't go this way. You're going the wrong way. This isn't your path, or you want to be over here. Other times it's teaching us something. It's kind of like ingraining a tenacity, or evoking a tenacity, allowing us to express a tenacity that we may not know we have, or that we may know we have, but we need to activate it more, or something. There can be that element to it too. Because I was also listening to Buckminster Fuller on the drive back, and there was a section of the book where he says a really eloquent thing. He talks about how in his own work, he sort of noticed that there's a principle in operation of whenever he would serve, like the larger the number of people that he was serving, the more effective he was. And so eventually from this he concluded, well, if I just endeavor to serve everyone, then I will be maximally effective. And this kind of tied in my thinking about it, tied in with what I was talking about in yesterday's post with my mom, and this image coming through of being of service, and how that's it's not just a responsibility, it's actually a motivator. It's a real, on a deep spiritual level, serving other people, and especially when it's a need that we can connect with. It's not just a kind of arbitrary I should be doing good for people feeling, but there's actually a sense of, this is a problem that I know I can solve, that I know I can address, that I can meaningfully address and help people with. It's a real motivator. And so I think there's something happening in me now where I'm also looking at, because I think just arbitrarily saying, well, I'm serving everyone, I want to serve everyone, might be confusing. Buckminster Fuller had he had a background, and he had a whole concept of what he was doing for everyone. And I think rather, it's not that I want to not take on big projects like that, or commit to big principles in that way. But I think that rather than just saying, oh, I'm doing this on behalf of all humanity, actually looking and actually seeing, well, what engages me? What sparks my enthusiasm for giving, for teaching, for sharing, for helping, whatever it is, what sparks that in me? And then identifying those things. And my own experience is that does gradually expand. The circle expands over the course of life. It's like the picture keeps getting bigger. I keep the circle of people that I feel that whom I am in service to keeps growing geographically. It keeps growing in terms of age range. It keeps growing in terms of just diversity of background, and in virtually all ways. It keeps growing, and in number, in terms of number of people. And so it's interesting to see that in operation in my own life, and it's interesting to sort of like have it become conscious through listening to Buckminster Fuller talk about that. And of course he was, because he was literally trying to create engineering and mechanical devices and avenues for humanity that would solve global problems, he just has such a beautiful way of it's almost like he's triangulating what that means. He's describing it from so many different points of view and bringing scientific, hard scientific studies and examples to bear on these principles of what it means to serve all of humanity. And it's a really beautiful story. Another thing that comes through in the context of this is a little bit what I was talking about with my mom yesterday, and she, her talking about the level of institution that she is working for and what is driving her about that. One of the things that this business incubator also said was the way to avoid burnout is to make sure that you are always able to keep solving the problems that you're interested in solving. In other words, if you stay at one level and you keep solving the same problem for people, even if you're successful at it, even if you're wildly financially successful at it, you'll burn out because you're not being challenged. You're not being provoked to solve the problems that you're really interested in solving. And that I find a really beautiful articulation of how this works, how this whole game of life kind of works. Like remain able to solve the problems you want to solve. All in service of other people, obviously, but in service of other people and ourselves, in service of evolution of consciousness in ourselves and others. But keeping that in mind, like, oh yeah, I've got to be doing something that engages me, or else I'm gonna burn out. Burnout is kind of like the benign way of saying it. It's more like you go off course. We get lost. We're unsure why we're doing what we're doing. Becomes probably just financial or whatever kind of survival elements it might be taken care of. So anyway, it's kind of a scattershot of where I am today, but I think the biggest thing is this idea that the problems keep evolving, and that in my own experience, the landscape keeps getting bigger. The landscape of service keeps getting bigger, which is exciting to see. Sometimes it feels like every off-ramp is closed. Every on-ramp is closed. That's okay too. There's other ways home. Thank you, folks. Love you all. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.